Good morning, everybody. Any news coming out today we got to be aware of? So let's get to it. Okay, let's just get to it. So these numbers are about as bad as you can get. Absolute devastation, absolute just awful, awful numbers. Continue to watch this, just see how this plays out right now, but just awful, awful numbers. I don't know how far down we're going to go, but 3% does not seem like it's going to be enough. I would expect to drop a little bit more, and we're going to have to kind of see how this plays itself out here. But just god awful numbers. So it's undescribable how bad these are. I'm actually surprised that we're only down this much, quite frankly, on how bad these numbers were. So we'll get into it. Let's jump right in. Let me make sure I just have this link set out for everybody in the rooms. I believe I put this on the internets, but let me just make sure it's in the trading community before we start. Sometimes I get so much done that I get so much going on that I don't move right away on some of this. Yep. All right. So cool. I have everything set up there. That's good. And so we'll go from there. And so this is just an outright dumpster fire. So we're trying to uptick right now. Let's look at what's going on. You're trying to uptick here right now. And I have some big trades on, so I'm going to have to watch them right now. I don't see how I just really don't see how you're rallying from this at all. I just don't, watch these levels. This is your first initial reaction down. So what you're going to do if you're short right now, just watch that level very carefully. If you get above that 256.61, you could see some kind of rally. I'm not so sure that we're going to, get above that. I think you might just roll right back down here. You can expect a 4 or 5% down day. Wouldn't be surprising at all here. Not at all. And you're going to just watch this. And I'm not just talking about the NASDAQ. I'm talking about the SPY. Like, none of this is fixed. Let me get into it. So the Discord is at 9:00. So let's get into some of these numbers so that we can see what's going on, so you understand what you're dealing with here, because this is really pertinent for people to get this. So let's get to it. So I'm going to show you this page. It's investing.com. And essentially what we're going to focus on here is what the heck is actually going on, right? So you should be able to pull this up and see it pretty clearly right now. So let's just go from here. All right, core CPI month over month. This takes out food and energy. Food and energy is being removed from core CPI, okay? 0.6 versus 0.5. Everything that is not energy and food related is up. Core CPI year over year is up. This number is going up. This was the previous number. This was the forecast, and we're higher. We have a 5% increase in core CPI, right? If you do the math, right? So, and that's month over month. That's not where you want to be. That's not something that you want to be looking at. So keep that in mind. 0.4 to 0.2. Okay, watch that really carefully here. Okay, that's a double versus the estimate. All right, so we're double the estimate. We're actually going higher. Inflation is actually getting worse. It's not getting better. Okay, come here, take a look at 8.1 to 8.2. Okay, this number, how this is only 8.2 leads me to believe shenanigans with this up at 0.4 and core rising. So you're telling me core is rising, but year over year, now that's not rising. I'm going to call nonsense unless they're really writing down the oil and crude oil, and that's what we're going to have to find out. That's what we're going to go to next. So I hope that's helpful to everybody. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because you're going to start seeing a lot more stuff in the commentary, especially the community tab. So let's get to it. So that's the level that we're watching. Okay. Off the rip, I had trade set up and I shorted as soon as I saw the prints. You just short, right? So now the question is, do I stay in those shorts or do I cover them? Well, what you're going to have to watch here more than anything is you're just going to have to watch if you're going to rally up and then maybe sell off again. You just don't know the answer to that. So what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to watch it here and see if we flip. You can always get back in, but you can't always lock in that day, right? So we're just going to want to make sure that we're doing everything right. And if you push through this level, you might want to just get out of some of your short positions and see how high it rallies, right? See if it can set you up for another level. If it rolls right here, it tells you everything you need to know. So the first thing you should take away from today's meeting is the pre and post level of 256.61. This is after you were able to get the ARBs and the high frequency traders out, and then you could see how we rolled here and what happened. And I think that's really where your head needs to be. And I think that's where you need to go. So, and we'll go from there. So if you just keep watching, and if you're short coming into today, I had some shorts on from yesterday. I had some obviously previous shorts. I've been pounding the table on this. If you're not getting this, I can't help you at this point. But let me just put this out for people that are new today. There is a free newsletter, and I'm going to change. I know that the wording in there is wrong on CPI. I'm going to fix that now. But there's a free newsletter. I mean, I have been pounding the table on shorting the SOSX. Okay, literally pounding the table on it. So I would strongly recommend that you subscribe to this newsletter, and I'll fix what's in there in a moment. But I mean, since the beginning of the week, we've been talking about this. It's up another 10% today. Okay. This is not going to stop. This is going to go to triple digits. It's just a question of when and if you're going to be able to hang in there, right? Like it's not going to stop. It's very difficult for me to put something like this long-term in a newsletter because of the volatility associated with it. But it's game on now. Like these earnings we're going into earnings season. Inflation is getting worse. People can say whatever they want. Oh, it's 8.2. They're missing the point. So, and I'll fix this now while we're talking, and I'll get to individual names if you have individual names, because I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but there's a lot going on here that we need to be aware of. But make sure you get the newsletter at this point. I'm going to put this whole thing in, and if you have issues with it, you'll say it. But and that just tells you everything, all the numbers going down below the screen, because that's how we roll. So yeah, Paul, those numbers are awful numbers. Let's get through that. Let's get through this. Let me get through your questions and go from there. But just watch that level. I want to be really clear about this. Watch that level I just gave you. Okay. You want to watch that level right now. That's everything. If you're trading the NASDAQ, if you're shorting, the level I just gave you is everything. Okay. If you get nothing else from this, 256.61, say it in your sleep. You can see how we rejected right there. Okay. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I'm really good at pointing out levels. So when you flip this, if you come down and then you rally back over that, you can push to anywhere in this, and that's going to affect your short positions. If you roll and you break, you're going to have the mother of all H's. It all is about this level. So just focus on that level. Okay. That's really very, very, very important. So the internet's there we go. But futures up, inflation's a big one. Yeah, you're going to have to really watch that and see how we act here. I just think that this is just about as bad as you can get. I don't think it could be any worse, quite frankly. So I would just, just stay out of the way. I mean, that's the one thing that I would say. But lots of these daily charts have divergences. Yeah, it's definitely hard. Paul, you're 100% right. Like when your VIX is where you're at right now, it's so hard. That's why I switched to a lot of the bear ETFs. We have some puts in Tesla, but we've been in them for a while since I think the VIX was at like 28 or 29 when we did it. So we're kind of locked in there. They'll be up like 100% probably today. So I'll figure out what to do with them, but I think you're going to break 209. I think you're going to 180, 170. I'm trying to stay in there for the week, make some real money. But your comment is valid. And I think we should talk about Paul's comment for a second, because a lot of these people are playing, you're playing with the VIX. The VIX is down. Does that make any sense to anybody? Okay. The VIX we're showing down. Does that make sense? Right? That news just hits and the VIX is down. Stay out of the way if you're not going to short. Do not try to pick off and buy the bottom. I can't be any clearer. Okay. As soon as that news hit, that was it. It was game on. And now you're seeing us roll again. But the VIX is not even concerned about what's going on. And that should be raising all your questions. Okay. That's all your questions answered. And so you're going to see these moves, and these moves are not going to go away. Watch the levels and make sure that you continue to roll past these levels. But I just don't see it. After 15 minutes, that bar solidified. You've got another minute, and then that bar is absolutely solidified. We're running really slow here today. We're going to have to close some of these other programs. Not really sure why. I could just close this one as well. Let me just log off of that. Maybe that'll fix it. I was looking at something for my father. That could do it. All right. So let's just keep going through this. Oh, you're welcome. I really, really like doing these streams. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. Once again, thank you for your stream. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Hey, Todd, good morning. It looks like an epic jump, Todd. Let's go here. MMAT and MMATF going up past couple of days with CPI. I don't know, man. I think that they're very specific trades on somebody being squeezed that is short, that shouldn't be short. That's what I think is going on there. I don't know if that continues. I don't know the story. It's not my kind of name. Would I be buying that kind of doji right now in today's environment? No, I'd be on the other side of your trade, to be honest with you. So it's not really something that I'd be shorting. I'd be betting against you here if that cracks. But the cool thing is, let's say that this sets up like this, right? And you're playing this. There's your stop. I mean, your whole trade's mapped out. So SPY broke 350. Okay, so now we're through 350. Okay, stay out of the way, right? I put this chart out in the community tab last night just to point this out. Every single move down has been 2%. Where are you this morning? Just to put this in perspective. Like if you actually do the work, this gets super easy to figure out, right? If you do the work, look at that. It's like a Christmas miracle, right? And you just all by looking at this. Okay. So that's really what your focal point is. Now let's keep going here. I've got some questions. So I'm being asked if I'm keeping my shorts on. Let me be very specific. I am keeping my shorts on. This was bad. Like, let me be very blunt. This is really bad. Okay. It's not good, and stay out of the way if you're not going to short. You're setting up for a really bad day. Like this is not a bad day, but there's a really bad day out there coming. And if you don't understand that, stay out of the way until this just gets out there. I know people are foaming at the mouth to buy some of these names cheaper and just bury them away, but that's fine. Yeah, we're done. We're done. You don't know what, yeah. Sheltered, I'm going to age myself here, but it's called jumping the shark to me. Tesla, let's do Tesla. So, and then DeBasian, it follows up with DeBasian's question too, as well. Let me just make sure you should have audio back. Okay, cool. But let's just go through this with Tesla so that we're all on the same page. So, I mean, just to be candid again, I'm short from, I'm short here. Just hold on one second. So let's talk about this. So if you break 209.28, where are you this morning? 208.54. Where are our levels? So let's look at that. Where could we get to? Well, my next level is this bonk level right here, right? Because we hit in there. But let me clean off this pre and post so you can see why it's really there. Bonk, bonk, right? Bonk. Here, opens, rallies, breaks below it, rallies, breaks below it, resistance, because support becomes what? Resistance, support, 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 support. And now I've said support 17 times. What's happening? Right, Paul? So we're cracking. Debasing, I don't know if you're long, if you're telling me you're long Tesla. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I don't know if you're long what you're thinking, to be blunt. Can it get to 200 today? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it can. This can get a lot worse. Who is going to step up and buy equities into this? Like, who's going to look at this and go, oh, this is all good news. I can't wait to buy equities. Pretty much nobody. So keep that in mind. Like, I don't, you might get a bounce off the open with people closing their short positions. And if you see those kinds of rallies, it's going to be spots for you to try to put on new short positions if you haven't done so already. Other than that, there's very little reason to do anything here. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah, please like the video. It helps me greatly with the algorithm. And it supports the channel, and I purposely don't run ads. Make sure you're welcome to, Paul. There's a link in the description, and there's actually an offer going out to people that get the free newsletter. It was supposed to go out in coordination when I opened the room up, and it didn't go out at the same time. It's my mistake. It makes perfect sense if you realize that people are basically saying that they think we're near a bottom, right? But it's really, really scary. I saw that, Indy. I saw that that's up, but so. Oh yeah, that's it. They're done. So I mean, I've made no bones about CVNA. I've been short it the whole time. So I mean, I've been pretty vocal about that I think it's a zero. I think it's the next room. I really do. I really and let me I'll walk you through that. So it's funny because I caught so much, people just don't have these long-term views, and I understand it, especially shorting if you're not used to it. But when we started doing this back here, and then he did that secondary that spiked it, right? And then where he had to buy, the CEO had to buy half the secondary, came all the way back down here. I bought some 15 puts. They didn't work. Comes up. I call these double horns for a reason. I wasn't crazy about shorting up here because of what we saw until we saw the cracks. And it was just on. Like, here's your bearish engulfing. You can see it. This thing's toast. I mean, this is going to go. And it's so funny. Go look at my tweets and just Google it. This is the next room. This is going to $1 if it's going to $1, right? Like, I just think that this thing's going to get absolutely crushed. So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't see any reason to think that that's going to wind up going up at all. I just don't see it. Let's go there. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It did affect my internets. Oh, you're in the puts. Okay. Oh, I absolutely, Paul. So, absolutely, it can go to 186. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason. So, I think you can go double digits. I mean, and I think Apple can just absolutely crack. It was one of the names, literally. I mean, there's no point. I can't tell you now. It's like one of the number one names I was looking at yesterday. I went over it. I went over it last night. Last night's video. The only good thing I see is I see people when I look at Google Trends a lot, I'd recommend that people do that as well. The amount of people that are losing interest in stocks is fascinating, and you wonder how much worse it's going to get. But because nobody wants to trade now, and quite frankly, now it becomes pretty easy to make money. Right? To me, this gets super easy to make money now. So you know which way you're going. You know they're going to raise 75 basis points. You know they're going to do 50 in December. Okay. You can start planning ahead. You know that what the midterms are going to look like now. Like there's a lot of things you can plan ahead for now. You have an idea what the midterms are going to look like now, just to put that in perspective. But where you're at with something like Apple, I mean, what do I think the first target is? Here's your first target. 129. That's your first target. If it's all this today, that wouldn't surprise me. Just to put this in perspective. Where do I think that you can go? I mean, this is your next target. Who's buying iPhones right now when they start losing their jobs? Seriously, like people have no idea how bad this can get. They have absolutely no idea. So just keep that in mind. I mean, these are all key levels that you could look at, that you could get to. You think you can't see this? Okay. I mean, I think NVIDIA is going into the 70s. You know, I'm not saying it's going to happen in a day. You're going to have these bounces up, but there is nothing redeeming about this. And if you crack this huge move down after this rally, that's going to be a massive, massive problem. You know, you can always put a trade on and then take it off and then put it back on, right? Like one of the key things that Michael Berry, everybody, look, I mean, obviously the guy's really super smart, right? But he took his short off up here. I don't think he put it back on. Look at the amount of money by not having patience, you know, by not waiting for the right time. So something to think about. It's definitely an issue. I mean, brilliant guy, but you just put the trade back on. These are all levels, Anthony, that I would look at. Now let's keep going through these. I'm sure I have a lot of questions. Oh, you have puts. Yeah, I would hold the puts. Look, you're gonna have to make that decision off the open as to how much you're up in your Tesla puts. Do you want to lock it in? You know, I would not be surprised to see the market rip off the open as people cover their short positions. That would not surprise me. Okay. That would not surprise me at all. And it's definitely something that I would be paying very close attention to. Watch that opening print. You know, look, you could snap back and go up and go flat on the day and then roll again. That's what my hope is. My hope is that we rally. Candidly, even the stocks that I added to this morning, as soon as the news hit, that's why we were a little late. You see how this 15-minute bar is forming a doji? We're going to have to watch that in the next 5 minutes because then it's going to give you another level. It's going to be more important to watch than the other one I just gave you. So why this is important is because if we're going to crack and go, then we're going to get another trade-off. So you want this to rally. You want it to rally so you can sell it, not because you want to buy stocks. I mean, if you're buying stocks, if you're buying stocks long-term after today's comments, you're not understanding what just happened. So think econ, but you definitely don't want to be that. Can that go to? Yeah, it could. Absolutely. You're not going to have your initial drop off the open. Everyone's going to blow out of equities today, in my opinion. That is long. Like they're not. Why would you stay in these? So, good morning, ASF. So, yeah. So here's where you're at in trying to understand this. If oil comes in, which I believe we did, right? We came in pretty hard on oil. Why does oil come down? The 85 is interesting because that's a really cool number. So you might actually want to look at maybe even playing that on the long side because I don't know that we're going to stay that low. Look, it's very interesting. I mean, if you take a look at the newsletter, right? Like we were long this and we're long this. And the reason is specifically what we're looking at right now, what we're facing right now. I just didn't know which way it was going to go, but it's increasingly clear that this stuff is going to come in. Now, why is this important? And let's go through crude oil because crude oil is really what you should be focused on, right? So let's go to take a look at this. Why did we come down? Higher inflation means lower GDP growth. Lower GDP growth means less productivity. Less productivity means less need for oil. It's that simple, right? I don't need to use big words. It's very simple. I think it was Bono that said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it enough. So that's how it would work. I hope that helps. If not, I'll go through it. I think that they're going to get absolutely destroyed, like Apple and Tesla. It's just a matter of time. Oh no, you're going to see massive redemptions, and now you're going to have underwater marks that they're going to be stuck with. Oh, you're welcome, Rick. It's my pleasure. Love doing it. I'm actually having a blast. They have to, Paul. They have to. I'd sent out this whole newsletter for free on, that's why I'm telling you to get the newsletters, because I'm going to do another one today, probably on probably the CPI and where this market's going, because it's too important for people. People have to learn this stuff. Everyone's just looking at a chart and saying, oh, it's this, it's that. The market is one big trade right now. But if you take a look at where NVIDIA is, my point with all of this that I was getting at when I was talking about, NVIDIA and this breaking and the SOSX breaking, like AMD is just, if AMD is cutting CapEx, if NVIDIA is cutting CapEx, if Micron's cutting CapEx, how the heck did anyone expect AMAT to not miss earnings? And, and that's what people aren't connecting the dots. Like Lam Research is next. Pelican Soft is next. Okay, these companies are going to just get destroyed. Okay, it's just a matter. It's not an if, it's a when. And people are looking at this going, well, how low can the stocks go? Well, when this SOXL is at 6, did you think that, or when LABU was at 6, did you think it could go to 4? Right? So, I mean, look, it can always get worse. Always. And I don't think people fully understand how bad this is. And I don't think they're going to get it for a little bit of time. So we're going to have to see how that plays out, but we'll go from there. Now let's just keep going. You're going to have huge swings, enormous swings today. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there, Tug. Could I check DE? What's going on, Michael? Somehow I missed you. Could you check DE? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at DE and see what's going on there. Yep, oil's rolling again right here. It's going to break again right here. Apple's going to roll again right here. Look at that. I'm sorry, DE. So where could this go? I'm going to have to jump here to hop in the trading room. There's too much going on for me to stay a little bit later today. I apologize, but I have to I'm going to have to do it. I mean, if I'm looking at that chart, I don't know how you're not getting here. I really don't. Like, when are earnings? I don't know how you're not getting there. I mean, I really don't know how you're not getting the 328, but which ones do you have? Let's see which ones you have. I don't know if you're there by the 28th. You could be. I mean, it's a major company. Here's why I'm going to say yes. I think you're there by then. Let me just show you this chart. Does that look healthy? Right? That's your sector. Does that look healthy? Like, that's going to just be a disaster. So keep that in mind. Let me just see here real quick. And let's go from here and just see if we have anything else. Yeah, you got to wait. You got to wait, brother, before you buy puts. You got to let this bounce, or you're just going to get eviscerated. Yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to have to change. They already came out and said it. Bank of England, Paul, go read the Bank of England comment. They basically, Bank of England put the government on notice. They said pension funds, but they are meaning government. And they actually said, you have 3 days to solve this. So you're going to have a huge crisis on your hands. So nice markets that ended sex have the most meat on the bone, the short. Yeah, I mean, I would be focused heavily on the tech sector. Heavily. I mean, the ones that we were shorting, Terry, in the room or had positions in were, I did them pre-market yesterday and then I traded out half of them, but SARK, I mean, you know, we're up in it now. I mean, SQQ, I mean, I bought more this morning, on top of that trade that I already have, right? So I think a lot of these names are just setting up to really run. SQQ, SOXS. I mean, you can't buy it now, but you're up 10%. So these names are just going to just keep rocking and rolling. Like there's no way that they're not going to keep going up, right? I mean, could you come back down? Yes, but I'm not telling you to buy any of these now. I mean, these were trades from yesterday. And trades we put on, or I put on this morning and outlined a plan in the trading community on, like, if this happens, this is what you do. This is what you short. There it is. I think you need to see a bounce before you put on new shorts right now, brother. I really do. And go from there. You got to wait, Terry. UVXY, that might actually be the play. It might really be the play because where's my fear? Like, are you joking? It's just crazy. All right, I got to jump, everybody. Make sure you get the newsletter. That offer will go out today. It's only for people. The full offer is only for people that get the free newsletter. So go from there. If you need anything, reach out. You can always email me. Trade to win today. Have a good day, everyone.